Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Gallegos, and I am the founder of Our Vote Matters, as well as I am a second year at UC Berkeley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Makayla Hegler. I am a first-year student of Merritt College, and I am the co-founder of Our Vote Matters Oakland. Our Vote Matters Oakland is dedicated to empowering young adults in Oakland, California by fostering a culture of civic engagement and informed participation in the electoral process. We aim to inspire a generation that understands the power of their vote and is committed to driving change and striving to ensure that every young voice is heard, valued, and represented both at local and national levels. And we just look to create more of an equitable democracy.
Yeah, and here with us today, we have Rowena Brown, who is running for Oakland City Council at Large. Hi, Rowena. Thank you so much for being here with us again.
Excellent. Thank you. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And then just before we get started today with our interview, I would love if you can just please introduce yourself for everyone, as well as tell us a little bit about yourself and the position that you're running for.
For sure. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Rowena Brown, proud East Bay native, grew up, playing in East Oakland parks to just living, working in this beautiful city of Oakland for about 2 decades now. I am someone who I lost both of my parents at a very, very early age, by the age of 17. And, was still able to navigate the public school system. I also I am an alum of the Peralta colleges. I went to Laney College, and then transferred to Mills College back when it was an all-girls school. And then even, just last May, graduated from law school just across the bay at UC Hastings. And just someone who's just been rooted here in Oakland, serving the community in various roles. So I used to be an optician. So that's, the person that when you go for an eye exam, I was that person that helps you pick out your glasses and helps you get fitted. And then some of the amazing work that I got to do was with OUSD students. There was a vision van that would come around to the schools providing eye exam and glasses to the students. So that was something that I led on for about 7 years. It was great work. And then I transitioned into being, you all will love this. I was a civics education teacher, right? So teaching the importance of civic engagement. My class, it was 8th graders. And so that was definitely really enjoyable. And then kind of more recently, I used to work for the city of Oakland from 2019 to 2021. So during the pandemic, and we know that that was really a hard time for our city. And so I learned a lot. And then kind of present day, I work for, perhaps you know her, I work for State Assembly Member Mia Bonta. She represents us in the state legislature, and I've been with her since 2021, really like serving the community in Oakland. And so why am I running for Oakland City Council? I just really want to try to tackle the issues that we have in our city. And there's just so much inequity, especially as someone who spent a lot of time, my early childhood to present day in East Oakland. And so just really seeing the conditions where it's just inequitable across our city. And then even just in this moment, there are a lot of things that are facing our community that I want to try to address. And so I know you all have some questions that are going to dive us deeper into that. So I'll hold off on some of the things that are top of mind for me, but that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you. And now, if you are ready, we would love to ask you some questions about yourself and your plans when you do get elected.
Absolutely.
So we'll start off with our first question. So what motivated you to actually run for Oakland City Council at Large, and what do you hope to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, so I've had the opportunity to really think about this question. And so, when I was a student at Mills College, literally a decade ago, I took this class called Women's Leadership in Politics. And the way that the class was taught was that, each class session, a woman leading an elected office, it could be like a city manager, a council member, a state legislator, they would come to our class and talk about the work that they did. And it was really kind of in that moment where I actually kind of I thought to myself, oh wow, like maybe I could do something like this. And so that was kind of when that first seed was planted. And just the type of person that I am, I'm not just going to wake up one day and say, hey, you know what, I want to run for city council. And so what I did, and this is just something that I encourage all, young people to do, is that when you're interested in something, dive into it, learn all that you can about it. And so that's what I did. And so when I started working for the city of Oakland, and it was during a hard time, it was during the pandemic. And so and we know that a lot of folks were facing, job insecurity because of being kind of laid off from their job. Students were in school. More people were starting to live on the streets. And so it was really kind of from my time working for the city of Oakland that I began to be more motivated to want to tackle the issues. And I got to do a lot of really good work and a lot of good research, but I just found that I think the execution was lacking, right? And just the ability to say, hey, here's this issue, let's bring community together, create an action plan, and then execute, right? And that just never came to fruition, right? And what do we know now? We know that, yes, it was hard during the pandemic. And now, present day, for example, homelessness in our city has gotten worse. And so I'm stepping up because I want to try to tackle some of these really like long-standing hard issues, but I want to do it like side by side with the community, because at the end of the day, we know we know the things that keep us safe, we know the things that we need. And so that's kind of a little bit about my goals.
Thank you so much for answering that. Our next question is, what do you see as the most pressing issue facing Oakland today, and how do you plan to address it if you are elected?
Yeah, I mean, kind of to piggyback, I know that there's a lot of conversation around like just the safety of our city, um, you know, gun violence in our city. And so that's definitely top of mind for me. But I do think that I think everything kind of is in a circle and it's all kind of related. And so one of the most pressing things for myself is actually tackling homelessness, and ensuring that we don't have, no matter where you're driving in the city, people living in tents, people living in their cars. What we know is that a lot of community members are struggling with mental health issues, right? Substance abuse issues, and just overall a lack of affordability in our city, right? A lot of people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to, just to provide for their families. And so I think that for me, one of the things that I want to work on is ensuring that folks who are currently unhoused have housing. And not just housing only, but actually true services to meet like all of the needs, right? So we, like how I mentioned, around mental health, substance abuse, making sure those needs are met. And then, housing, transitional housing that's more than a year, potentially 18 months or 2 years, so that people can really like have a foundation underneath them. And then they can begin to think about, workforce, right? And what they would want to do, right? So really kind of creating a model. I would want to create a model for those who are facing like housing insecurity, so that then they can indeed get back on their feet. And then also at the end of the day, I'm sure you all probably have friends, family members that just the rising cost of living, and based on income, it's really hard to afford living in the Bay Area. And so I personally want to really work on ensuring that, like our seniors, single moms, they actually can, afford to live here, whether it's making sure that the rent is actual, it's not like, how would that go? I think it's like 60%. I think the data says that most families, like 60% of their paycheck is going to rent. And so we have to do better than that. So I want to like work on those types of issues.
Thank you. And then I know you kind of already digged into a little bit about safety in Oakland, but I just wanted to, continue on the conversation and then ask, what is your vision for public safety in Oakland?
Yeah, so while I was working for the city of Oakland, I had the opportunity to work alongside well, first off, I was actually one of the persons that got to plan. Are you all familiar with the Reimagining Public Safety Task Force and that work that came about in 2020? And so I was actually staff on that assignment, and so helped kind of build out a lot of that programming. And the results of that, the hard work of the members of the task force came back with literally like over 80 recommendations on how to keep our community safe. And of those recommendations, I think only 2 or 3 were actually implemented. So that's something that's really like top of mind for me, because it's like, hey, we actually have this guidebook of what came about as a result of reimagining public safety. Maybe we should start there. So that's kind of like top of mind for me as well. We know that right now there's a lot of push around, we need more police officers. And so ultimately, I can, when we compare the amount of officers that the city of Oakland has compared to like another major city, the city of Oakland is definitely understaffed in that way. And so I would really be interested in how, of course, ensuring that we have enough officers on our street, but still we know that we need like a police accountability. So that's important to me. And then had the opportunity to work with the Department of Violence Prevention. And that's really where it's at, right? In addressing the root cause of what is actually contributing to violence in our community and really trying to kind of tackle it from that way. And so I think of ensuring public safety in our community. I don't think of it as like either this or that. I think of it as being like multiple things that need to come together that help create safety.
Thank you so much for answering that question. And I know we covered a little bit of how you want to support our low-income community, but if we can expand on that just a little bit more with this next question.
Yeah.
So it says, Oakland is a city with significant racial and economic disparities. How do you plan to ensure that all residents, especially people of color and low-income communities, have access to equitable opportunities and resources?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is definitely something that's top of mind for me. We need to ensure that and no matter, as we're driving through our city and we hit East Oakland, you can visually see the difference between like a lack of access to resources, right? And so the way I look at it is that there needs to be intentional effort to help revitalize areas of both East and West Oakland. And so I'm super focused in on like the MacArthur corridor, for example, and actually ensuring that there are businesses in that corridor. I think the other thing that's really apparent is that like in East Oakland, can you name a major grocery store that's there? We can't, right? In the flatlands, right? And so just I would put it like this, like we really have to get back to the basics. Like, hey, let's make sure that in our communities and lower income communities, we have some of the basic needs, whether it's a grocery store, it's a bank, a banking institution. We know that in the flatlands of East Oakland, it's even lacking a bank. And so, that's something that I'm super kind of focused on. The City of Oakland's Department of Race and Equity actually released something called the Disparity Study. And so that would be something that I would really continue to dive into to ensure that there's actually actual equity. And I think the last piece that I'm really focused in on, I think that Oaklanders should be able to work in the city to which they live. And so that's another piece where I think would be super impactful, is actually in a lot of the City of Oakland jobs, no matter the department, like let's employ our community. And then of course that starts with our young people, whether it's like internships and actually paid internships. And then that will allow like there to be more kind of equity.
Thank you so much for that. And then I just wanted to shift gears just a quite bit and just ask, what is something that you love about Oakland? Maybe your favorite spot to go to in Oakland, or just since you grew up here, like what is your favorite thing about Oakland?
Yeah, as I was thinking about this question. Yeah, I feel like the beauty of Oakland is it like Oakland allows you to um come into your own, right? And really like be exactly who you are meant to be in the spaces, no matter what space you're desiring to be rooted in, right? So as a proud member of the LGBTQ plus community, it was really because of just it was really because of Oakland's kind of like welcoming and nature that I actually kind of came into who I am. And then my favorite spots in the town, there's actually a great Oakland site article where I kind of lay out my favorite day. But it has everything to do with just being able to, ride around the city and attend various events. I'm a huge fan of like local artists and local music, and then also like local makers, right? So most of the things in my home have been made by local artists, whether it's the art on the wall or even some of the clothes that I wear. And so I think that that's a part of Oakland that is just unique to us. And, I think that Oakland is also full of so much talent. And so like every event that I get the opportunity to attend, it's like I'm always in awe, as someone who I would consider myself very book smart and maybe not so much in the art space. And so I think I find my joy is found in those who actually are in the arts, because it's something that I wish, it's a skill set that I wish I had.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I can definitely agree that pouring into the community we have, whether it's people that create things, our business owners, local people, that's definitely something that we need to focus on more in Oakland. It's definitely a big impact on our community, and I think it deserves more attention. Um, but our next question is, how will you measure the success of your initiatives in reducing gun violence, homelessness, and expanding affordable housing? What metrics or benchmarks will you use to ensure your efforts are making a tangible difference for Oakland residents?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been saying is that I think that change is something that you can see, right? I think that's where we are in this moment, where how do you know if you're impactful? Okay, well, when you walk out of your home, is your neighborhood walkable, right? When you walk out of your home, are you seeing folks that are living on the street? Right? Is that homeless person that you've seen maybe for the last 3 years still there? Or in your mind, you're like, oh, wow, I hope that they've found housing, right? And they're getting the support and the resources that they need. And so, my vision around like success would actually be one where we know that, metrics wise, those who have passed away from gun violence, those numbers would be all the way down. Our community, no matter where you live in the city, you can actually walk the neighborhood. We're not seeing folks living in their cars or on the streets. And then I think like a larger scale, imagine Oakland actually being this place of other cities visiting Oakland and saying, hey, how did you do it? Right? Oakland used to have these metrics. Oakland used to be described as X, Y, and Z. And now in 2020, we're not sure what date, right? But now we actually have an Oakland that is not all of these things, and almost like basically like creating a roadmap for other cities on how to do it, right? I think that would be the vision.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that question. I have one more. If you can expand a little bit for people that aren't as aware what it means to have at large at the end of your title, I think if you can expand just a little bit more about what it means.
Absolutely. Yeah. So within the city of Oakland, you have 7 council districts where you have a council member representing that specific constituency. The at-large member would be representative of the entire city of Oakland. and also needs to get the votes of the entire city of Oakland. It makes it exciting. And then as far as like the role and your ability to impact change across the city, that's really what is there, right? And from in my experience, what I've found is your district specific council members, they need support, right? So if we're thinking about the two to three council members that you say represent East Oakland, for example, right? Sometimes they're trying to push forth initiatives and investments in the community, and maybe they need that fourth vote, right, to get something across the finish line, right? And so, or even if we're talking about West Oakland, right? And so I've just found just historically, really the role of the at-large council member is one that is supportive, and it also allows you to focus in on an issue. I think a lot of times the council members, they're focused on their district, and so they may be putting out different fires, but the at-large council member really has the ability to focus in on, let's just say addressing homelessness in our city and really partnering with all the key agencies to help make that happen, and like creating a plan of action, right? So they have a little bit more room to really try to impact change, in my opinion, and that's what my goals are.
Thank you so much for that. And wrapping up, that was our last question that we did have today. So just before we close out and wrap up with our interview, we would like to thank you again for making time to interview with us, and as well as being able to answer our questions. As well as we did want to ask if you did want to leave any last remarks, or if you want to leave something for young voters, or just for the community of Oakland to know about you, or just anything else that you would like to say before our interview is over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I'm super, super proud of both of you and the entire coalition that you all are building, not only here in Oakland, but, actually nationwide. And so I hope that you all feel really proud of yourselves, and please keep up the good work, because as you know, this kind of moment in history, it's a big one, right? Especially at the national level, right? We have this opportunity to elect the first woman president of the United States. And so that's something to really be excited about and really to rally behind. I know that is also kind of in tune with the mission that you all are kind of driving around, really activating the youth vote. And that's something that's really important to me as a prior civics education teacher. So, keep it up. And then as far as just like a message to voters, yes, we're excited about what's happening at the national level, but we know that all politics are local, right? And we are living here in Oakland, and we know that there's a lot of change that our community needs. And I think that we are in a moment where now is a good time to actually elect new leadership, right? There's this saying that if we keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, it's insanity, right? So in this moment, I think it's really important that voters really engage all of the council positions that will end up on their ballot, and really vote for change and vote for new leadership. I do believe that I'm the best candidate running in the at-large race, and would really love to have everyone's support, and the community can learn more about me by visiting my website, rowenaforoakland.com.
Once again, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being here. We are definitely in support of everything that you are doing, and we appreciate your support behind our movement. So for all of our viewers, please continue to look out for more events. We have more coming up very soon. Our Instagram is OurVoteMattersOakland, and our YouTube is OurVoteMattersOakland.
And if you have not checked out our town hall, it will shortly be up soon on our YouTube, as well as you can find our previous interview that we did with the mayor on YouTube as well. And as always, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to email us or OurVoteMattersOakland@gmail.com, or you can send us an email, or you can send us a DM on our Instagram at OurVoteMattersOak. But other than that, we would like to say we hope that you enjoyed this interview. And once again, thank you so much, Rowena.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Right
Bye.
now.